Hello, I'm Joe, and welcome to the video. As you all know, we just finished this sketchbook like a week ago, and as much as I love it, I'm so glad I'm done with it. And being done with that sketchbook means that I get to move on to this sketchbook. It's not decorated yet. I don't have a first page. Like it's completely blank. And just based on how my last sketchbook went and how my relationship with art has been recently, I've kind of decided that I want to designate my sketchbooks to be more of a self-indulgent kind of thing. Because I used to be so scared to draw on my sketchbook, and I still kind of am, but I kind of just want to stop caring, you know? In this video, I'm gonna draw fan art. You probably saw the thumbnail, so you probably know what it is, but if not, you might be thinking, Joe, what are you drawing in the sketchbook? What's going on here? I'm not gonna be doing the first page because that's too scary to do on camera, but I'll be working on this spread, and what I think I'm gonna do in this is I'm gonna do fan art of some really, like, small indie movie that I recently saw. I don't know if any of y'all have heard of it, but it's called Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I'm kidding, by the way. It's probably the biggest thing online right now. So for this spread, I wanted to draw my two favorite new Spider-Man characters, which would be Pavitr Pravakar and Hobie Brown, which, by the way, if I pronounce Pavitr wrong, I'm so sorry, but Hobie Brown's pretty easy to pronounce. So I'll be drawing Spider-Man India and Spider-Punk. It'll also be my first time drawing them, so if you see me struggling during the sketch phase, just ignore it. It'll be fine. But yeah, for right now, I think I want to draw Pavitr, and yeah, I'm just gonna pull up a reference on my iPad real quick, and then I'll get to sketching. So I'm gonna actually use sketching supplies this time, because if I go straight into line art, it's gonna look so bad. Man, it's been a while since I've actually, like, done a traditional sketch. I've been doing so much digital art lately. It's weird. Also, one last thing before I start sketching, I'm not gonna be getting into story spoilers for this video. I'm probably mainly gonna be talking about, like, the artistic aspects of the film, because as much as I love the characters and the plot, I love the artistic aspect of it just so much more. But as for the artistic stuff, I'm not gonna be putting a spoiler warning for that, because you can pretty much see all of it in the trailers, so I don't think I'll be saying anything new. But yeah, now I'll just go ahead and get into the sketch. As per usual, if you hear any background noise, please ignore it. I don't have a proper place to record audio, so I'm just sitting in my room, and people are loud in my house, so yeah. Did I make this video as an excuse to ramble about Across the Spider-Verse for 20 minutes? Yes. Am I ashamed? Absolutely not. I'm not going to be the first person, and I'm certainly not going to be the last person to tell you if you haven't seen this film, go watch it. Even if you haven't seen the first movie, I don't care. Go see it. Like I said, I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but let me tell you, the first time I saw this movie, when it ended, my jaw dropped. Like, my jaw was hanging open for, like, the last 6 minutes of the film, and whenever it ended, it took me a minute to even gather my thoughts about it. Like, wow, that is the first time a movie has ever elicited that reaction from me. I've seen it twice now, and the first time I went to see it, I went with a group of friends, and I remember the movie ended, and they just all got up and were like, wow, that was so good, and obviously they were as excited about it as I was, but I couldn't even speak. Like, I was just processing what had just happened. From the story to the characters to the artistry, this film is it is a work of art. It is so good. And obviously, I'm an art channel, so y'all are probably gonna be art nerds too, and if you're not a fan of superhero movies, and so you've kind of been writing this one off because you're like, I'm not a big fan of the MCU or DC or anything like that, go see this film anyways. The Spider-Verse series so far has such a unique identity to it. Not only does it tell a different story from the rest of, like, the superhero movies, one that is arguably better in my opinion, but the visuals are so good. I have plans to see this movie 2, maybe 3 more times while it's still in theater. I don't even know what to say about it. It's so hard not to talk about it without like completely getting into spoilers, which like obviously I don't want to do because that would be rude. But yeah, I'll talk about the sketch a little bit. I really struggled with the pose in the middle of the page. In fact, I had a reference for it, but I just ended up doubting the reference and then doubting myself and then doubting every single thing about it. I think my second attempt at drawing it was my best attempt, but that's not the one I ended up with, so, you know, it's whatever. But Pavitr was such a fun character to draw, and he's such a fun character in the movie. I guess what I mean to say is his character was just such a breath of fresh air compared to the rest of the Spider-Man. It was really fun to see him in action. Okay, so this sketch took me a lot longer than I thought it would, but I really like how it's turning out. So I think now I'm just gonna clean up the sketch a little bit and then I'll come back, do the line art, and yeah. But before I do that, I'm gonna go eat lunch. Hi, now it's thunderstorming, so if you hear thunder, please ignore it. This is the only time I have this week to record this audio, so sorry about that. Okay, so now I want to talk a little bit more about Pavitr's character design, and I also want to say I'm probably not going to be able to fully analyze it because I am very unfamiliar with Indian culture and how it like influenced his design. But I will be speaking from what I know. My first impressions of his design, I thought it was so fun. In fact, I had been avoiding like promotional material and trailers for Across the Spider-Verse, with the exception of the first ever trailer they dropped, because I just wanted to go into the theater with like barely any knowledge of what's gonna happen. But the one piece of promotional material I allowed myself to watch was Pavitr's introduction clip, and I just thought it was so fun. His design is flashy and confident, and the way he has his hair just adds a whole other level of character to it. It's so fun. I'm gonna be using that word a lot, I'm sorry. You know, he's a fresh new Spider-Man. In his introduction, he literally says, being Spider-Man is so easy. And I think the colors really like emphasize that. They're bright and flashy, kind of emphasizing how he's extremely confident in his skills. Especially the gold accent. It probably has some other meaning to it as well. But adding a yellow color, especially making it gold and something metallic like that, just adds a whole other level of, oh yeah, this guy, he's got his crap together, doesn't he? I also like the headband, making him look, you know, sporty and stuff like that. It does beg the question, how does no one recognize it's him though, since they can see his hair and like hear his voice? But we don't ask those questions, do we? Actually, maybe I should ask those questions, but I'm not going to. Talking about how flashy and like fun his character is, even whenever he was lined up against the other Spider-Men or women, Spider people. I know every Spider-Man is supposed to like have their own feel to them, but his is just, it's so fun. I loved it. Like I said, it was like a breath of fresh air compared to all the other like emo spider people, basically. Alright, so the line art is pretty much done. I have to go back and erase and like fix a few things, but I think it's looking pretty good so far. I have some colors gathered together right here, and I think I'm gonna start coloring in a second. I will say, I think I messed up some things with his design whenever I was doing the line art. Like, I thought right here that it was a blue accent and then it was red for like the rest of the suit, but now that I'm actually looking at photos of him, I'm seeing that he has a blue stripe in the middle, and I feel a little silly, but it's okay. His design just looks so good. I love it so much. I really hope my coloring is able to do it justice. Yeah, for now, I'm just gonna start on the coloring. The costuming, colors, and character design in Into the Spider-Verse, or both of the Spider-Verse movies, are honestly just like genius. The way that like the character designers are able to incorporate tiny aspects about the character into the Spider-Man costumes while still making them look like Spider-Man costumes is just so cool. I applaud them for that. Like Spider-Punk's jacket, Pavitr's headband, Gwen Stacy's Converse, Miles's bleeding armpits, I guess. It's just so cool. I love this movie so much. But yeah, my overall thoughts about Pavitr, he was such a fun character. I loved him. I'm sorry I'm kind of all over the place with this video. I don't usually write scripts for my videos, and this is a special interest of mine right now, so I'm just, you know, I'm kind of obsessed with it. It's in my brain. It's all over my brain. It's jumping all over my brain, so I'm just kind of catching whatever thought I can and then saying it out loud. Oh, but yeah, the coloring. I'm probably working on the coloring right now. The line art, I liked it. There wasn't really much special about it. It's just line art. It wasn't bad. I'm glad it wasn't bad. I feel like it's very easy to make line art look not good, but I think I did an okay job. Fudenosuke pens are just, they are chef's kiss. They're so good. But the coloring for Pavitr's page, I am so proud of it. I mean, it's nothing special. It's pretty simple, but it's been a while since I've actually done a sketchbook spread and been like, man, I love this. Is it just because it's a Spider-Verse spread? Probably. Am I complaining? No, I am not. I love Spider-Verse so much. Can you tell I love Spider-Verse? I don't know if you can tell I love Spider-Verse. But yeah, on Pavitr's page, I didn't really try to push the colors that much. I just did his basic color palette and then like added a bit of shading here and there. So it's not anything special, but I still really like how it turned out. Taking a break from my Spider-Man brain for a second, I kind of want to talk about this sketchbook and my last sketchbook and just kind of sketchbooks in general. I said in my last video, I had very mixed feelings about the sketchbook. Like, I didn't think it was bad, but I also didn't really think it was good. And I think part of that was because I was in school and I wasn't able to focus as much attention on it. I also at some point mentioned that I felt like my sketchbook always ends up being low effort unless I do stuff for YouTube. I think I cut that part out of the video because I was like, I don't know if people want to hear about that, but I'm gonna say it here since less people will probably watch this. And I want this sketchbook to be different. So while yeah, I did do this first spread for YouTube, I also kind of did it for myself, you know, because I'm a big Spider-Verse fan and I wanted to draw these characters and use Copic markers. And I did. I remember when I was younger, I would spend hours upon hours in my sketchbook, you know? I wouldn't be afraid to draw, I wouldn't be afraid to do things. But with my past few sketchbooks, I've just been so afraid of making mistakes and doing things wrong that I've been limiting myself and making myself miserable in my art. And I know I'm not the best artist, and none of my artwork right now is like groundbreakingly amazing, but I have been enjoying it a lot more ever since I just kind of got the mindset of who gives a crap if I don't do things right the first time? The least I can do is try. And I've only started thinking like that in like the past 2 weeks, and I feel like it's helped my confidence in my art so much. Like, yeah, I'm not the best artist, I'm not a 18-year-old prodigy. Who cares? What does it matter? At least I have fun with my art for right now, you know? And I feel like I didn't really have that mindset at all in my last sketchbook, so I just want this sketchbook to be something that I don't have to fear. I want to work in it. I don't want it to be a chore. Because the reason it took me 5 months to finish the last one, while yeah, it was some of the other reasons that I described, it was also because I just kind of feared working in it. But I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be like my 7th grade self, where I go through a sketchbook in a month and not every page looks pristinely perfect. The ones I show to YouTube will probably look better, but for the most part, I just want to have fun. And that's what this spread is. So yeah, if there are any younger artists watching this who like watch my videos for sketchbook inspiration, or really just anyone, not even younger artists, my number one tip to you is don't fear art. because there are so many things you can do, but you just have to like be able to try. Everyone has different goals in art, so when people ask me like, oh hey, what are your tips for younger artists? It's really hard for me to answer that like with confidence, because like I just said, there's a lot of things you can do with art, and I'm probably not going to be able to answer everything specifically to your needs, but that is the one tip I can give to everyone. Don't fear art. But yeah, let's get back to the Spider-Verse stuff. So now I'm done with Pavitr's page, and God, I love it. It looks so good. I'm off to a great start with this sketchbook, I think. It's been a while since I've used Copic markers and like actually really liked the final product. I just think this turned out so good. I don't know, it looks really cute. I really like the composition of the page, especially these three right here. I think they look really good together. I love my little doodle of him right here. I think it looks so cute. I mean, there are a few things that I don't like I think the anatomy with this one is really bad. And I made his legs way too long right there. But I did this without a reference, so I mean, it's good for what it is. Also, whenever I was looking up references, I realized that all of the characters have a certain way that they like jump, and this looks more like Gwen's jumping style, but we're gonna ignore it. We're gonna pretend like it's not Gwen's. So now I'm gonna move on to Hobie, but oh, what? I already did the sketch. I did most of it last night because I just wanted to stay up and draw him. So yeah, now I'm just gonna go straight to the line art and then the coloring, and then we'll be done with the spread. Hobie Brown. What can I say about this character that hasn't already been said? I feel like my ramble about him is gonna be a lot like Pavitr's. Like, I just think he's so cool, and there's nothing else I can really say about it, you know? And I can't really talk about him specifically without spoiling things, but I love him so much. Honestly though, my opinion on him kind of changed throughout the first few days of the film's release. So the first time I ever really saw something about Spider-Punk was on Instagram. It was like 24 hours after the movie's release, and you know, I use that social media religiously, so I was stalking all of my favorite artists' stories, and they were all just freaking out about Spider-Punk. So I just kind of thought to myself like, okay, I didn't know he was in this film, but he seems like he's gonna be a really good character, and I put my expectations for him super high. Like, I thought he was gonna be groundbreaking in every single way, and looking back, I think he was. But the first time I saw the movie, I felt like my expectations were just a little too high. I felt very underwhelmed with his character. I think I just thought we were gonna see a lot more of him than we did see. I mean, he was still in the movie quite a bit. I don't know, I felt slightly disappointed. But then the second time I watched the movie, I was like, okay, now I understand. Now I get it. I get the Hobie hype now. His character is so fun. One thing I love about this movie is that it's able to portray all Spider-Men as like Spider-Men, while still being able to show off like the unique aspects that make each Spider-Man their own individual person. And Hobie is just so unique. Like, it is so fun to see his character on screen. His animation style is wonderful. The way he talks, you know, he's British, so he's different in that way. And it's so good. You know, I just loved the artistry of Across the Spider-Verse as a whole. It's so genius. The people working on this film are incredibly talented. I really don't know how to describe it, because I've never seen anything like this movie before. It is truly groundbreaking. And it's really amazing that this movie is groundbreaking, because, you know, I thought Into the Spider-Verse was gonna be like the peak of animation. Like, whoa, this is what we can do with 3D animation? Sign me up. I don't hate it anymore because of this. But with Across the Spider-Verse, it takes the bar that Into the Spider-Verse raised for 3D animation. It throws the bar into space and then it jumps and grabs it with ease. It's incredible. Every universe has its own artistic identity. Every character has their own style. It's so good. I'm so sorry if I've been like repeating things over and over about Spider-Verse, but I feel like some of y'all, you know, my regular viewers, are gonna be obsessed with it as well, and so I don't know, I just kind of wanted to put my thoughts out there. And I'm not very good at film analysis, so you know, I'm sorry I haven't really been able to say anything unique or groundbreaking, but yeah, TLDR, this movie is so good. Go watch it if you haven't, and yeah, it's awesome. Okay, so anyways, let me talk about Hobie's page in my sketchbook real quick. So for his page, I really wanted to make it look different from Pavitr's, because I felt like the coloring style I used for Pavitr was really, really simple. Like, it looked good, but it was pretty basic, and so for Hobie's page, I wanted to do something entirely different. So for the line art, I just did normal line art, as you can tell, but for the coloring, I really, really tried to push the coloring as much as I could. Okay, well, maybe not as much as I could, but I tried to push it. I feel like with the first Spider-Punk that I colored, you could tell I was holding back a little bit, but then as I got more comfortable, the next one, I was able to just push the colors as much as I wanted, and it turned out just so good. Like, I love how this page turned out overall, especially the coloring. I don't think I've ever been this happy with how I've colored a character or just a spread of characters in a while. I just think they both look so good, and I'm really, really proud of the spread overall. You know, it's been really fun to actually enjoy doing something in my sketchbook for once, instead of just letting it sit there and collect dust and not wanting to work on it. That's how it was for a little while, and I'm glad I'm finally out of that, because this spread is just, it's beautiful. Honestly, I don't have too much more to talk about, so I'm just gonna let y'all enjoy the rest of the speed paint if you want. If you want to skip to the finished product, here is a timestamp on screen. But other than that, I will see y'all later. Just kidding. Editor Joe here for a second to say, after looking at a bunch of fan art of Hobie, I realized that I drew his hair wrong on that headshot of him. I don't think it's as obvious on the like tinier little drawing of him, but the big detailed one, yeah, I feel bad. The reference I used to draw that face was like a really low res image of Hobie, because I drew it before there was a lot of like screenshots online. And I honestly thought it was a stylized afro, and maybe it is, but I'm not sure. I just feel bad because I don't like being inaccurate to people's characters. I still think the coloring looks good, don't get me wrong. But yeah, I'll leave it at that, and I'll let you enjoy the rest of the speed paint. So I'll see y'all. Alright, so now I'm done, and I think it looks so good. I was really proud of Pavitr's page, and I was so worried that Hobie's wasn't gonna look as good, but now I think I might like Hobie's better. I feel like I also unintentionally like captured some aspects of their characters with the coloring. Like Hobie in the movie, his animation style is so unique. It's so much different from the other characters. It's messy. Every part of him is like animated differently. I won't go into detail, but like, oh, it's so good. I usually don't push the colors as much as I did on this page, and I think it turned out really good. I've probably already gushed about it on the voiceover though, so I'm not going to talk about it for much longer. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like, a comment, and maybe even subscribe if you would like to. I also have a bunch of other content up. In fact, last week we just did a sketchbook tour, so maybe you should check that out because it's a good watch. If you want to follow me other places, I have a Pinterest and an Instagram with the same handle at Josta. I haven't been doing too much with my Instagram recently, but I post pretty frequently on Pinterest at least. I love this page so much, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.